Hey everybody, Mike Steele here with Barbecue Champs Academy, and we got a great show lined up for you tonight. Really thrilled to be here. We've got Mr. Eric Hodson with Boars Night Out, and we've got Rick Manzi with AnonymousQ. And looking forward to talking to both of these gentlemen. Both of them's got new rubs that come out. Rick just started his line. Eric just had a new rub that he debuted at the SCA World Championship. They were both there. We're going to talk a little bit about that to see how they had done. We're going to be talking about Memphis in May. We're going to be talking about SCA. We're going to be talking about everything with barbecue in general. It's going to be a great, great show tonight, and really looking forward to it. I hope my voice will hold up. I've got somewhat of either drainage. I don't know if it's allergies or if I'm just trying to get a cold. Whatever the case is, I hope my voice will hold up for tonight. So, in the meantime, we got a few folks coming on here. Gordon, as always, we can count on you being here. I think you told me you had a city council meeting you need to go into. I don't know why you're watching this show. So, Emmeline, thank you for joining us from Ohio. Ron, all the way from Delaware. We appreciate it. Miss Brenda, thank you for joining us tonight. It's going to be a great show. We got Mr. Raz on here, excited about Brother Rick and Mama Sis Sue. Yes, they have. I know they're incredibly happy. We're going to talk a little bit about their new rubs they just released. Darren, thank you for joining us tonight. Chris, we appreciate you being here. Man, we got our loyal listeners that's always here. We got Mr. Dan all the way down in Houston. How about, was it those Astros last night? Did they get a win? And on top of that, a no-hitter? Man, that's awesome. So, On Point Barbecue, hello from Long Island, New York. Man, we got quite a few folks on here from coast to coast. Mr. Bobby Stewart, come on now, man. We appreciate you being on here tonight, Bobby. This is a great cook. He's over here in Texas, over there around the Terrell area, and outstanding cook. Man, I tell you what, you don't want to mess with that guy when it comes to ancillaries because he is on point. Got Mr. Tony with us tonight. We appreciate you being with us tonight. As you come in, let us know. We're going to see how many folks we can get on, and once we kind of get everybody in, we're going to give them just a few minutes, and we're going to get our guest on tonight. I've got a cook-off this weekend. I'm going to be heading over to Gilmer, Texas. Had a good time there last year. Had a second brisket, second rib, so I'm hoping I can duplicate that again, or at least somewhat close to it. And my chicken has definitely been good since I went back to my WSM. And if the chicken can be there with them other two, we may have a good chance of winning it. Could be some good cooks. $10,000 payout. It's an outlaw event, so if you have not signed up, you still have plenty of time to do so. They roll out the red carpet. It's a small little town. It's cooked right down on Main Street. It is a lot of fun. And if you're looking for something to come out and cook, that's a great one to go to. Let's see, Gordon, hello from Cleveland yourself. There we go. Corby, thank you. Doodle Q, appreciate you being with us. Got Trisha with us. Thank you for joining us tonight. Who else we got? Nick, we appreciate you being with us tonight. So, got folks steadily coming on. Alan Smith, hey brother, how you doing? Good to have you on tonight. I guess Eric and y'all I've got a lot of stuff going on. It's really awesome. Jerry, thank you for joining us tonight as well. So I'm not going to go too long tonight. I want to just kind of get into our guests. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So as y'all come in, just let us know. Justin, we appreciate you being here. There's the man we were talking about just a minute ago, Mr. Hog Addiction himself. Mr. Marcio is joining us on our podcast tonight. Good luck to you next weekend, Marcio, down at Hogs for the Cause. I know you have been doing very well down there and won it last year, so congratulations. I know you're going to have another good cook, so you've been doing really, really well. Mark, we appreciate you being with us. Mr. Brody, thank you for joining us tonight, sir. I'm doing good. I hope you are as well. Let's see who else got. Christopher on here. What's up? Excited for tonight. Yep, we got some great guests. Thank you for joining us. Nathan, thank you for joining us tonight, getting home from work. And Mr. Michael Sanders, thank you for joining us tonight, Michael. Appreciate it. Well, man, all of a sudden we got 41,000 folks on here. It's going to be a big show. I told you it would. Mr. Stephen Peacock's with us. We got Mr. Scott with us. Appreciate you being here as well. Well, we're not going to waste too much more time. We're going to get our guest on. Once again, I always like to thank our partners. We couldn't do what we do without them. Dustin at the barbecue store, thank you so much. One thing about it, any of our classes that we have, if you are looking for the rubs, you can get 95% all the rubs in our classes at the barbecue store. And we're going to make that more known because a lot of times we'll see our private Facebook pages and stuff, and people are constantly asking where they can get them. So we're going to make announcements of that here on our podcast like we do every week. So if you're needing any of the rubs in our classes, be sure to hit the barbecue store up. Also, Gunnar Wilhelm knives, some of the best knives in the industry. Miss Daigle with Daigle's barbecue sauces and glazes, and also Raider Red Meat. Anything that you're looking for prairie fresh, they can definitely hook you up. Got fast shipping and can usually ship overnight as well. So be sure to check them out. Got a couple more folks on here. John, thank you for joining us. Let's see, SCA Cooks. Take Raymond Patterson's class. It's a good one. I'm telling you right now. Him and Steve's class both. I mean, the technology has changed so much in just the last couple years since we had filmed that I was absolutely blown away. But Nathan, I'm glad that you liking the class. Good evening, Mike. Hope everyone is having a great night. Absolutely. Well, without further ado, let's get our guest in here tonight. First up, we got the man, the myth, the legend everybody wants to be like, Mr. Eric Hodson with Boars Night Out. Hey, Eric, how are you doing, brother?
Hey, Mike, man. How are you?
And I'm doing really good. I can't complain. A little bit under the weather. I'm going to let y'all do a lot of the talking. I'm just going to ask some questions and kind of keep everything moving. Also, we got another champ in the house, Mr. Rick Manzi. Rick, how you doing, brother? AnonymousQ.
Hey, Mike. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Man,
Hey, Rick.
y'all both had some pretty good weekend over at the SCA World Championship here a couple weeks ago. We was trying to get Rick in, but he was still on the road. I had already committed to having the Hogs for the Cause podcast on last week, so I want to kind of dive in a little bit just to let our guests know we're going to be talking just a little bit about SCA, how y'all did. We're going to be talking about Memphis in May. I know that's a huge thing on everybody's mind. It's been the buzz for the last few months. Man, there's one person in the middle of this screen that's in the middle of all of it. He's going to give us his thoughts and opinion on it. If y'all have any questions for any of our guests, be sure to ask. And then we're going to talk a little bit about rubs. They both have got new rubs that have come out. And it's if you've never heard of Boars Night Out, you're missing it because they got some incredible rubs. They just came out with a brand new one, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But let's kick it off real quick, guys. I want to talk a little bit about the SCA. First of all, Rick, I want to kind of start with you, man. You had a couple huge finishes. Tell us a little bit about how all that went, where you finished, not only in the World Championship cook-off, but they have another one's kind of like okay, you didn't make the cut, now we're going to have the Cowtown Express. Tell us how you did in both of those.
Yeah, well, Mike, first of all, I was extremely nervous because obviously, as you said, I just came up with the rubs. And although I developed them over the past year or so on the SCA circuit, to try them at the World Championship, although I had some success and being pretty consistent, it was certainly taking a chance. So from that perspective, I was pretty nervous, confident, but nervous. But no, fortunately for myself, I made it to the finals and I finished 4th overall in the World Championship, and then came back and finished 2nd in I think it's the blue group at the Cowtown Classic. And the scores themselves, 53-4 and I think 53-7 flavor scores was pretty consistent. Wow. So needless to say, as happy as I was to finish 4th in the Worlds, it still means so much to me. It was obviously one of the bigger accomplishments, but certainly to come back with a 2nd place finish, I could take a big breath to say, okay, what we've been working on the last year, and Eric knows this well because we were chatting earlier, since 2006 with his rubs, it was really a sigh of relief because I don't know how Eric feels, but certainly we have a small team, we have people testing them, and you're watching each weekend people's scores and how they finish, and you feel like if they didn't finish well, you let them down. So at least the pressure from that perspective is off. And then certainly we had some team members, Terry West, who finished 13th in the Worlds, incorporating AnonymousQ rubs. And then we had some other people in the Cowtown Classic. So when it was all said and done, I feel much better now sitting in this chair than I did at the World Championship.
I bet. It's had time to sink in, I would imagine. So we was trying to get you on right after, and you were still on the road. I mean, you live up around New Jersey area. Where you?
Yeah, I actually 2 places, but really the nation's capital. I live like 25 minutes northwest of DC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's talk real quick about a couple of your rubs that you used. I'm assuming that this definitely made the cut, the Disruption, all purpose. I tell you right now, you've got a winner. It is very, very good. It's very balanced. It's not just a salty note. It has a very, very good flavor. And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think when you look at the line of rubs, they're all uniquely different. Obviously, the AP rub itself, as you mentioned, you'll definitely have a little bit of salt, some savoriness, but really a punch of garlic and certainly a little bit of onion on the back end. So that accomplishes one thing. But then with the spicy, certainly you'll get more of umami flavor. It's not that I just heated up my all-purpose rub because that's easy to do.
Right.
And really to get a different notes with more of umami, those types of notes, really savory, with a little bit of back end heat that lifts you up. You got to be careful with it because it comes down a little bit slow. You know, when it comes to the beef and more rub, I don't have beef base. I got something truly unique in there. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of good products out there, of which I use most of them, including Boars Night Out, Eric. So hopefully you feel good about that. Great product. But on the beef one, I'm extremely proud about that because when you taste it, you get that sense of beef, but it's not a fake flavor. It's not a really beefy base flavor, but it's enough note to enhance the flavor of the steak and some other ingredients in there that certainly when you grill a steak, it makes it really come alive. So I'm proud of that. And then we finish it off with the grilling dust, which you should get a note of sweet. You'll get some savory, and then you'll get some back end heat that lifts but goes away. So it ends off. So really, they complement each other, I think, pretty well. So hopefully everybody who used them feels the same, and they do pack quite an amount of flavor. So
they are very, very good. Every one of them's got a very good flavor to them. So, and they're balanced, you know, and that's the thing. I think you have to have balanced flavors in all of your rubs, and yours were pretty much well balanced across the board. So, and I mean, look, the proof is in the pudding, man. You know, 4th place out of, goodness gracious, all the teams that they had. I think y'all was going up against almost 100 in the finals, if I recall, and 4th place there, and then go over to the Cowtown Express. I think is what they call that cook-off. There's usually a ton of folks over there in that one, but it had to be close to 100. You got 2nd place there. That's a pretty impressive outing, considering you don't ever really cook down in the Texas area. You're usually up north on the East Coast. That's pretty awesome. So congratulations with all that.
Thank you.
Eric, let's talk a little bit about your adventures over there at the SCA. So I know you had one really big monster call, and it was a rib ancillary that they did. Tell us a little bit about that and how you did.
Well, they decided this year to do a rib contest on Friday because it's kind of a slow day. Get someone, you know, that's hanging around, something to do. And we all like cooking ribs anyway. It's, you know, it doesn't take all day. And we were fortunate enough to come away with a 2nd place in ribs at during Marcio. Pulled one out again. Got that rib away from me.
Yeah. But, so how many teams do they have that was actually cooking ribs?
Man, Rick might know. I don't even know. It was a bunch of teams.
A bunch of teams. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was. I could be wrong. It was around 180. I could be wrong. It was around 180, I believe.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. And leave it to the 2 guys that's, you know, cooks a lot of MBNs that know a little bit about ribs. So now let me ask you: did you do a St. Louis cut or did you do a baby back?
We had to do a St. Louis rib.
Had to do.
I was going to actually brought baby backs because I was going to do baby backs.
Okay.
And we brought both. And I'm glad I asked because I was told before we even started prepping. I was actually asked the day before, and I said, "No, you got to do spares." I'm like, "Well, I guess I'll do spares."
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. The rib man. Yeah. Marcio, get your AnonymousQ rubs. It'll blow your mind. Carrie's giving you a little plug. Let's see, Marcio. I believe it's a rib world championship from now on. Yeah, it probably is. I mean, I guess it is if you got teams coming from all over the world competing at it. It's a world rib cook-off. So, wow.
It was good to throw that in on that Friday.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stand around time on Friday, and to be able to cook some ribs and, you know, light the pits was a good addition to the weekend.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your new rub that you just brought out. Man, I haven't got a chance to try it, but I know one thing. There was a couple folks that were definitely rocking it with it. So hold it up to the camera and let's take a look at it. It's Boars Night Out Southern Thunder beef rub. There we go. Perfect. Right there. Just hold that. This is Eric's newest rub. Eric, how long did it take you to develop that rub?
Well, first of all, it's Boars Night Out's rub. It's not just mine.
Right. Yeah, Sports
It
Night Out.
takes a collaboration to develop these seasonings. It normally takes us a year or so to actually get one on the market. A lot of people have heard of Team White Lightning. That consists of a lot of the top cooks in the country in different genres of cooking. You get the Tim and Sandy Brown, Matt Overson, Marissa, Mark Huntley, like we talked about earlier, Jeff Jacobson. We got Chris Lytle, Alan Smith, and we put together an elite team of people to really do our research and development on our seasonings. And now we're going to be coming out with sauces as well. And one good thing to do is have people spread your brand. Is that they also help fine tune the seasonings that Alan and I come up with. We come up with a season, we rough them in, and then we bring them and start putting them out on the circuit to our people. And they do the research and development. And they're a team of people that they're honest with us. If there's something they don't like, if there's something they think we should change, we listen to them. They have proven that they're the best cooks in the country, or at least some of them. And I would say I've called them our guinea pigs before, but they're really not. They're a major part of our research and development for our seasoning brand. And with the SCA, we've got 9 championships through Team White Lightning. We got 3 world championships and 6-point championships.
Wow.
Just with the SCA. And we couldn't ask for a better team, and they make it easier on us than trying to do all the research and development ourselves. We spread it out around the country for a year or so prior to putting it on the market. And when we all feel collectively that it's ready is when it's ready.
Okay. I remember when we had Marissa down here shooting your class, it was the Midwest Dust that she was using as a finisher. Yeah. And it was funny, we were filming it, and she said, I don't have a bottle, but this is my trick, and this is what I've been using, and I've been killing it with it. And it's Boars Night Out, Midwest Dust. And she said, about the time the class comes out, it's going to probably be available for everyone to purchase. And man, she had it in a thumb grinder, and I tried it. And I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I guess it kind of is nice to be on Team White Lightning, where you can kind of get the newest stuff out there before everybody does. Yeah. And it really does. I mean, there's, you can try it. We can say, yes, it's good. It's not good, blah, blah, blah. But it really matters when you put it in competition world. What does the judges think? And if it'll pass that test with those cooks, then it's pretty deadgum good. And I like the way that you take your time to go through everything, to really do the R&D on it, really make sure and test it that it is competition worthy. And man, that's really great. So let me ask you. Let's see what Marcia put. White Lightning on that first place rib. Yeah, maybe Marcio's still using your stuff against you.
Beating us with our own stuff.
That's crazy.
That's great.
It is. Hey, if somebody beats you with your own stuff, man, that's got to make you feel good.
That's a win as well.
That's a win. I get beat up all the time by our alumni that's taking our classes. I could care less, man. I'm happy for them. So I've got a question for you, Eric, and I've seen a lot of your rubs. I've tried a lot of them. Do you have a sauce?
Not on the market. We've made our own proprietary blend for years for competition. Okay. We've always steered away from sauce because of the profit margins. You've got to sell a lot more sauce than you do seasoning to make money, and we're in the money making game. So
right.
We do have some sauces coming down the pipeline. We're practicing. We've actually got them at the co-packer now. But until they're perfect, we don't bring them out. We're not in a rush. It's a lot of work to bring one out or a couple out like we were going to do. And we want them to be perfect. It's got to stand up to the White Lightning brand, the White Lightning name, and with all of our other seasons, it's got to be as good as them right out the gate.
Right. What about you, Rick? I know you've got, obviously we were just going over all your rubs and stuff. You've got 1, 2, 3. You got 3 rubs, or have you got other rubs that
There's 4 total, Mike.
4 total. Okay. And what was the other one? Did I not get it? See, I got
Grill and Dust.
Grill and the all-purpose, the Grill
There's
and
a
Dust.
spicy. There's a spicy one.
Oh, there's a spicy one.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And what about sauces? Are you going to dabble in the sauce? Or are you going to stay out of it?
No. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard the sauce business is pretty hard. So let's see if we got anybody's got any question for these guys. And y'all make sure y'all drop them in the team. Let's see, Lamar, how are you doing, brother? Appreciate you being with us. Yeah, On Point Barbecue Team AnonymousQ. There we go. Well, it looks like y'all had a great outing at the SCA. I mean, congratulations, Eric, on the second place. You know, it took this guy that's won, I don't know how many freaking grand champions in a row. Marcio, I done lost count. I'm sure it's 6 or 7 in a row. And, you know, I mean, you was probably well on your way. And I'm sure when you got that second, you was probably going, there's probably only one guy that I'm really, really worried about. I mean, they're all you got to worry. And Marcio's been on a roll, so... but man, that had to be a good feeling against 100+ teams, almost 200 teams, to get a second place call. So,
Well, when you're standing on that stage for second place and you shake Jim Compart's hand, which is Jim Compart, Compart Family Farms, he sponsored that event, but he's also sponsored Boars Night Out since 2012.
wow.
So we've been with Jim for 12 years, and it was an honor to walk up there, shake his hand, get that award. And then when your buddy, and he's also part of Team White Lightning, he helps do some research and development with us. But he's just a good friend. And when he walks up behind you and gets that first place and he shakes your hand, gives you a hug, you know, couldn't be a better guy.
Yeah, Marcio he's cream of the crop. Yeah, he corrected me real quick. I was off. It's not 6 or 7. It's 8. 8 of them.
I knew it was 8, but I was waiting on him to pop up.
You knew he was. I would too, man. I would have already had it ready on the
Right.
keypad in case that got answered. Boom, here you go. That's amazing. To win 8 amongst the competition that y'all are cooking at, that is absolutely insane. So let's see. White Lightning, baby, all the way from Alaska. So
There you go.
there you go. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. We appreciate it. So, well, let's kind of transition a little bit. We've talked a little bit about rubs and we've talked about the SCA, but I want to kind of make this transition now into Memphis in May. That has been a very hot topic. I know when it first was announced several months ago, man, people was in kind of in an uproar. I think it came out, 4 or 5 months ago when they first started talking about it. Some people hate it. Some people think it's okay. I just think I don't know. I would not have picked that weekend to do against the MBN. So
It'd be MIM. It'd be Memphis and May organization.
Yeah. So I can't believe that they would put it up against that weekend and kind of divide everybody out. But I'm not there cooking it. I don't have no skin in the game. Y'all cook it every year. Y'all are incredible. You lost by a couple thousandths of a point here, or hundredths of a point here, 2 years ago to Tim Shear and them. And man, so I know y'all are there. Y'all always place very well at Memphis in May. But I want to get your take. And this is a good time. If anybody's got any questions or thoughts or want more clarification of what we're really talking about, drop them in the comment. Eric, I'll let you kind of explain what happened. In other words, okay, we've had Memphis in May. It's been down on the riverfront. And then all of a sudden, now there's another organization coming in, and just kind of take it from there and where it's at right now, and the prize money that both of them are offering and stuff like that.
All right, I'll start out. I started going to Memphis in May. I was raised in Memphis, so I started going to Memphis in May in the early 80s. And I've gone every year, either with my parents or friends' parents. So it's kind of it's just part of life going to Memphis in May. And it's always down on the river, and it's that riverfront and the skyline of downtown Memphis, and it's just a whole thing for, you know, barbecue cooks in the area. And COVID, obviously, everything took a big hit, and they canceled it that year, and then they decided they brought it back, and it was at Tiger Lane, and then they were gonna, which is our fairgrounds in Memphis. And then they're going to bring it downtown after they do a big renovation, knowing that it was going to cut it down by like a third or something like that, which is significant. When you got 240 teams, you cut it by a third. That's pretty significant.
Right.
And when they had to cut some people, they cut the backyard contest. which is naturally is what they needed to do.
Right.
But
Right.
then they also had to limit, the pro side as well, and that put a sour taste in the folks' mouth that did not get in. And I understand that as well. We'll come to last year, we were down on the river, and they had cut it down, and they had done this beautiful landscaping. They had it all roped off. They had laid a bunch of sod, but they had covered it up really well with these big rubber mats. And we knew it's going to get muddy. You pull 30-plus-foot trailers that are 10,000 pounds plus across fresh ground, you're going to have a little bit of damage. And Memphis and May would not allow us to put our own trailers in. So they actually had people there putting trailers in for us to try to keep from tearing the grounds up even more.
Right.
And it's ruts. It's not that hard to fix. And they ended up putting like a $1.4 million fine on Memphis in May. Well, that's huge. There's not a lot of places that can just drop 1.4 million. And then, there's a lot of red tape and fine print. So we get done with Memphis in May, and they talk about the fines, and then I start hearing before they announce that there's going to be another contest down on the river. And I'm like, well, okay, who's going to put it on? No one knows. I heard rumors, and then I got a phone call about who was actually going to do it, and I had to keep my mouth shut for a while. And when they announced that Memphis in May was definitely going back to Tiger Lane, and this other contest called Smoke Slam was going to be down on the river the same weekend as Memphis in May. And for people like myself, and I know Alan felt the same way, it was kind of like a kick in the gut. We've always said we've been real close to winning Memphis in May, but if we do, we want to hold that trophy above our head on that riverfront, looking at that big pyramid and that bridge lit up with LED and down where Memphis in May should be.
Right.
And that's what we're all used to. That's where Memphis in May needs to be.
Right.
And in my opinion, the people there's got to be somebody involved that has something against someone at Memphis in May and has proven a point. From what I understand, this other contest is backed by huge money. And if they lose money, it doesn't matter because they have so much money. And to do it the same weekend in Memphis in May, they're trying to pull teams away from Memphis in May and obviously hurt them either financially, personally, or both. And, they're doing a music festival down there the same weekend as Memphis in May normally did their music festival. So they're telling Memphis in May they could not allow them back downtown. And then they allowed this other company to come in and put on a contest. Now, I'm not bashing this other contest because we want to cook it. It's paying huge money, and plus it's on the river. But we wish it was a weekend before or a weekend after.
Right.
Because we really want to cook both. Our heart is with Memphis in May. We're going to cook it until we win it. No matter what. We're cooking it until we win it or they do away with it.
Right.
And even if we win it, we're going to keep cooking it.
Right.
But we want to cook that contest. They are putting out huge money. There's only a handful of teams in the MBN or the Memphis and May networks that could win one or two or even three categories. I think Marcio's one. I think we'd have a good shot at doing well at it. And if you grand that contest, if you happen to sweep it, you're going to win just shy of $100,000.
Right.
It's in the 90s. So from what I hear, Mr. Marcio is going to go down there and throw a smackdown on Smoke Slam, I hope. And so Marcio is going down there. We're going to Tiger Lane for Memphis in May. And we're going to swing for the fence there.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, Marcel's over here asking questions. So I guess he's needing a good recipe for his whole hog. Alan came in with a good one. Lots of white lightning, baby. Lots. So Marcio, is it true? Are you not going to cook the Memphis in May? Are you going to go do the Smoke Slam? Which, I could see both ways. I'm sure they want to do Memphis in May, but at the same time, they are throwing really, really big money over at the other one. So, That's I guess it's kind of tough. You're kind of in between that rock and a hard spot. You probably want to stick with MBN, but at the same time, yeah, he says we're going to go to the Smoke Slam. So
People look at it like it's just two different contests. One's on the river, one's down in Memphis. Well, when you cook Memphis for a bunch of years, there's a lot of teams that have to have corporate sponsors to even be able to afford it.
that's true.
So, do these corporate sponsors now want to go to a parking lot in the fairgrounds, or do they want to still invest their money down on the river? Well, if the team that they've been backing for a year or years decide that they're going to the fairgrounds and they still want to invest their money and they want to bring all their customers and their business people down to the river, there could be a lot of difference in investing in sponsorships. And now we're spreading judges out between two contests. We're spreading sponsorship money. We're spreading a lot out between two contests, which doesn't make sense to me. I actually hope one of these days maybe they can pair up together and put on one heck of a contest to benefit Memphis.
Right.
The whole part of it is to make money for the city of Memphis. And they're gonna bring in money, but it's gonna be about the same amount of teams, I would think, spread out between the two.
Right.
We're gonna have less teams at Memphis in May, and they cut theirs off around 65 teams or so. Don't quote me on that, but it's around that.
Right.
You can only bring in so much money when you only have that many teams.
Yeah.
Corporate sponsorships only going to get you so far. You're
Right.
going to have entry fee money. You've got to sell a bunch of ice. You've got to, all rent the tents. You've got to do all that. And when you only got 65 teams, it cuts your overhead. You need to be able to make. You need teams there to make money. Is what I'm getting at.
Right.
And it's like the American Road. They pile them in. They're bringing in a bunch of money. Memphis and May's always been huge, 200 plus teams, and there was a bunch of money coming through there. And after COVID hit, it took a hit.
Yeah. Wow. So how many cook-offs are you going to do this year? Just roughly.
Barbecue side, less than 20. I'd say steak maybe around 20.
Okay.
I'm the guy that when it gets hot outside, I like to go float on the boat.
There you go.
And drink those cold drinks on the water. And we resume back in the fall when it cools down a little bit.
Exactly. Well, Rick, what about you, man? Have you ever been to Memphis in May?
I never have.
Yeah.
If Eric needs a dishwasher, I'm in.
You're in, huh?
Come on.
I got
Come
you.
on. You better bring your walking shoes.
Yeah, I hear it gets busy down there. So, all right, Rick, we got a couple questions for you, and then we're going to kind of find out what you've got planned for this year. I hear Rick has competition from a newer state cook that knows all the secrets. What's her name, and when is she cooking again? Oh, I just now picked this up. I know who this is now.
Mike, I might have finished 8th in points average for grill grades, which I'm proud of.
Right.
But I hate to say this, my average was 4.714. My wife's average was 6.12. The only problem is she didn't cook the 20 comps. If not, I would have got beat again. But all kidding aside, Sue, I'm extremely proud of her. Whether it's barbecue, the comps that we kicked it off, we never had intent on doing SCA. But to Eric's point, I bought the J3 Jambo because it was cool. Tuffy Stone had one right down the street, and at the barbecue battle to see it, I was annoyed by it. But we did the barbecue, and then certainly COVID hit. And then that put a damp, and then we went the SCA route. So, but extremely supportive. We do it as husband and wife. She's pretty as the day's long, beautiful personality, but don't let her smile kid you when she cooks a steak. Stop running, because I do. But I'm extremely proud of her.
That's for sure. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know a lot of wives that have jumped in there when the husbands are competing and like
Gordon Thompson or Scott Lotchwood, whatever name he's using tonight. He's certainly experienced. I got to witness when Brenda beat him and finished ahead of him. So yeah, I know the feeling, Scott.
Yeah, and that happens all the time. And even Kira gets in it the first time out and goes spanks everybody's butt. And she was 0.2 away from a perfect score, and it took a perfect score to beat her. That was the craziest thing at her first competition. So, man, I know that had to be a proud, parent moment for them. So. Let's see, Brian. Rick, are you cooking this weekend in Connecticut and bringing rubs?
Yes, that's Scott McDonald and Jeff. Their comps up in Connecticut will be the first one of the year. We'll bring them. It's a great comp if you haven't signed up for it. Scott and Jeff, they do an amazing job at the Italian Society Hall. That's how I remember because I'm Italian. But nevertheless, it is a great comp. So, and I believe they're having a rib cook-off ancillary and a pizza ancillary, and I believe a kids ancillary also. So great competition.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what's your plans? I mean, are you gonna? I know I've seen you dabble around in a few barbecue competitions over the years.
Yeah.
Are you gonna kind of stick with steak, or are you gonna kind of mix it up where you're doing a little of both?
I'll do a little of both. The truth of the matter is, I love barbecue competitions. I just don't have the time for the preparation it takes the week before, everything leading up to it. And for those who know me, I'm pretty competitive. So the ones I do, knock on wood, we fared fairly well. You want to do well. That's why you go there. You don't go there just to socialize. At least I don't. That's the secondary component of it.
Yep.
But certainly, I'm going to mix it up. I just don't have the time. And that's why we lean more towards SCA. And I certainly cut that down from the 60 comps of a couple of years ago, 60-something comps. Last year, I think I did 35, and I'm good with that. To Eric's point, we do have a house at the Delaware Beach, so it's nice when it gets warms up to take some time off and have that work-life balance, but still keep your toe in it, competing, and having fun. So.
Yeah, yeah. So, Eric, do you do a lot of state competitions, or do you mainly just kind of do the barbecue stuff?
Well, I cooked the very first SCA contest they ever did. So I've been cooking the SCA since it started. We used to cook, between 30 and 50 a year. And then after 2018, 2017, when I won the world championship, we kind of slowed down because we'd been going pretty hard. And we were into developing seasonings, and we run the barbecue circuit as well. So it's hard to cook as many state contests as some of these guys.
Yeah.
Like all the people on Team White Light, and that's one of the reasons we have them. They cook a ton. That's one of the stipulations. You need to cook 50 contests a year or more.
Right.
And they're spread out all over the country. But we like to start the year off with some state contests, and then we into March and April, it's time for barbecue, and we run barbecue till it gets hot, and we'll go north a lot. We'll head up to Virginia, cook Galax, Virginia, something like that when it's hot because it's nice and cooler up there.
Right.
In July. But honestly, we stay away from the hot weather around here. We go to the lake, and we'll pick back up with some steak and barbecue. But it's about 50-50 for us now.
You kind of mix it up then. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We like to spread it out. We like to show our faces in different sanctioning bodies.
Right.
Spread the name out. Spread the seasonings out, and we like to go cook other contests now instead of chasing points and all that. We just go cook the ones we want to cook.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. All right, Rick, you got the success of what you got to do. You got to go out and cook, and spread it around a little bit. So get the name out there.
Social media, Rick. Nowadays, it's a lot easier to get yourself out there. Boars and I have been a team since 2006, but we didn't start putting seasoning out until 2010 and to 2011. And we didn't have the social media like we do now. And if you want to sell a bunch of seasoning, you need to have a ton of presence on social media. Look at a lot of the people that are killing it, and a lot of them it's because they have a huge social media platform.
Yeah, social media.
Eric, I told you how I got introduced to White Lightning.
White Lightning, baby.
Mark Huntley came to Annapolis at Edgewater, and he cooked. There was a few comps going on SCA before I really even knew. I think it was my first or second SCA comp. Of course, he won, but that's how I got introduced to White Lightning. Just so you know.
Right.
Good introduction.
Yeah. Let's see. We got some other questions in here. Let's see. What have we got? Man, Smoke Slam. Let's see. Marcel, for us, it was a financial decision, way cheaper. Let's see. Rick Davis cooking. There's Susan right there. Glad to have you with us. Mark Lambert. Okay, let's see. They got rid of the problem. It will get better. So, I know that was quite a quagmire with all that stuff. So, and hopefully it does get better and they get things cleaned up. So let's see. You get used to losing to your wife. It stings a little less each time. That's right. Hey, there's Mr. Matt Overson. Hey, brother, how you doing, Matt? Glad to have you with it. Yeah, glad to have you here, Scott McDaniel. I'm totally used to it at this point, Scott. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like once the ladies cook, it's over with. Oh, all right, Marcio. How many times have you qualified for Worlds, Eric? So,
8, I think,
eight,
7
eight
or
times.
8. When I won in 2017, I think was when they decided, or maybe the year before, they decided if you were a world champion, you didn't have to have a golden ticket anymore.
You can
So
automatically get in. Okay.
fortunately, I don't have to qualify anymore, but I don't want to get in on that. I want to
Right.
win. I want to win my way in just like
Yeah.
everybody else.
There
Even
you
if
go.
I've got a so-called free ride,
Yeah.
I'm going to win my way in.
There
I
you
want
go.
to earn it instead of just walking in with the accolade of being a champion.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, Rick, I'm going to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot of folks on here. 52,000 people are with us tonight. Got a big audience, so no pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's one thing that you could give, one kind of tip that you could give, whether it's for barbecue or for steak, what would that one tip would you give to somebody that you think it has made you more well-rounded and a better overall cook, whether it's barbecue or steak, or if you want to elaborate on both, you can elaborate on both.
Yeah, I think for me, they both go hand in hand. Is follow your process. Although White Lightning's on here, my new rubs came out, and we know, particularly in the SCA, flavor is extremely important. I think a lot of folks, like us all, me included, when I first started out 4 years ago, it's everybody focuses on that magic bullet. If you focus on your process, practice like you play, right? So when I do a practice cook, I just don't heat up a grill. Ask my wife, I'm nuts. The timelines I'll follow with a comp is the timelines I follow in a process cook. If my spatula is the second utensil over to the right, when I practice, it's the second utensil over to the right. I could tell you how many choco briquettes I have in my chimney. I could tell you what everything has to be consistent.
Right.
Because if you get your appearance down, you work on your doneness, your texture, flavor, you start scoring 52 and above, 51 change and above, depending on comp, you're going to place in the top 10, right? And so if there's any advice, stick to your process, practice like you play. Everything else will just enhance what you do as far as your process.
There you go. That's some sound advice. All right, Eric, I'm going to throw that question to you. We'll keep yours more in the barbecue because I'm looking for some barbecue stuff here. So what do you think is one of the most important things, up-and-coming cook, even a seasoned cook, that they're maybe missing, that there's something that they can take and help them make them a better cook?
All right, I've got 2 of them, and they're pretty important. Number 1, and people think it's kind of funny, but everybody likes to have a cold drink. Learn to win sober.
Yeah.
There needs to be, on every good job, there's a job foreman. There's somebody that can take charge, somebody that people respect on the team. And if everybody's drunk, you're not going to be on your game. And learn to win sober is number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, when we first started out and first started becoming successful, we had a notebook that we wrote down everything every weekend. What the temperature was like, what the humidity was. Did it rain? Did it not rain? Did we have cloud cover? Did we have wind? We've been cooking compart pork for a long time, but we used to write down what pork we cooked.
Yeah.
And like Rick said, it's all about consistency. And if you write down everything that you do, write down your scores. And then after you do it for several weeks or a few months, you can start going back and noticing a pattern. And if you have somebody, we had a guy on our team at one time that wrote a program, and he would input all of our scores in it. And after a while, after a certain amount of cooks, it would start spitting out numbers to where he would just say, hey, y'all are doing great on tenderness texture. Y'all need to add a little more flavor. You get comment cards. We'd keep all those. And it was all about consistency. Exactly what Rick said. Do the same thing multiple times before you change anything to see what you really need to change.
Right.
If you're chasing your tail the whole time, changing weekly, somebody saw Rick get second place and he's like, well, his new seasonings are out. We're changing to his stuff. Or Chris Lytle's a world champion now. Boars Night Out come out with Southern Thunder. We're changing to that. which Rick and I will both love that, but it's not what you need to do. Whether you're using your own seasons or someone else's or whatever process you're doing, keep doing that for a while. Don't jump around on your processes. Don't jump around on your seasons. Be consistent so you can see what you need to change and make small changes. And or take a class. That's the number one. Let's go back. The best way is shorten your learning curve.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of classes that you put on that you can go to your website and see. And there's a lot of great pit masters all over the country that put on classes that are champions, that are proven winners, and shorten that learning curve.
Yeah.
Like us back in the day, there weren't a bunch of classes. We had to learn it the hard way.
Right.
We had to hang. Fortunate enough, we live right down the road from Mark Lambert. We live down the road from John David Wheeler, Malcolm Reed. There's a lot of awesome heavy hitters from our region that I'm fortunate enough to be good friends with. So it's easy to learn from people
Right.
around here. But if you're in different parts of the country, you don't have, you're not lucky like we are to be fortunate to be around all these people all the time. Surround yourself by the people you want to be like and you
Right.
want to learn from. And easy ways, go to the NBBQA, National Barbecue Conference, and meet up with people, learn, take classes. Boars Night Out, one of us takes a class or two every year.
Yeah.
No matter how much we win, no matter how successful you are, there's always learning. Mark Lambert, one of our best friends, 7 or 8 time world. I done lost count how many times he's a
7.
world champion.
Yeah.
But he went to a class not long ago. You know what?
Yeah.
Don't let your pride get in your way.
Yeah. I heard Fred Robles say one time, if you're not taking a class every year, you're going to get left behind. You
That's right.
always have to keep learning. You may think you've got it, but there's somebody that's probably got something out there that you don't have. And you go 2 or 3 years of not having those processes, and the next thing you know, you can go from hero to zero in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is some excellent advice. I'm just like you. I don't drink, so it's very easy for me to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and be sober. I don't drink, and I do that. I go there to win. I go to a competition. I've done spent probably $600, $700 to get to a barbecue competition that we cook at, and I wanna win. I know the likelihood of winning is hard nowadays, especially with all the classes that are out there and the thousands of people that have taken classes from barbecue champs. I'm getting beat by my customers all the time, and I love it. I could care less. I mean, that's great. That's what I wanted. I wanted to help grow the sport of barbecue and steak. And there's a man right over there to your left on my right on my screen that he has taken a few classes, and he makes no bones about it. And he's like, you have to, and that's what helps you, I think, become a better cook. So go there, be prepared. And I mean, I'm like you. I've got notes of every single competition that I've ever done, and I'm on competition 147th this weekend. And if I pull that up, and this is just on my notes, but it's got every single competition that we've ever done. That was all my 2023s. I can go back, I can look at notes. I'm just like you. I keep incredibly detailed records of every single thing that I did, and I can say, okay, what did I cook there last year? They liked it. Had a second rib and a second brisket last year there. Well, do you think? And I pretty much will cook the same brisket everywhere. I've got two different rib recipes that I use, and I won't change my brisket recipe. I'm running the same brisket recipe since 2018. I don't change it. It does so incredibly well for me. But ribs, I've got 2 different ribs, and so depending on where I'm at now, I can say, okay, this rib's done better at this competition than this rib, and I'll just kind of make small little switches. It's completely different rubs, sauces, injections, everything. And but by having these notes, you can go back and see, man, they really like this rib. It's done good here 2 years in a row. I know you don't have the same judges, but I'm going to stick with that, because a lot of times, especially for what we do, you got backyard people that are coming in. We may get some of them same judges in there. So I think that is some great lessons or great advice by both of y'all. Yeah, be humble and keep learning. Yeah, that's what Joey said. Let's see what else we got. Much respect to Eric. Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, I think that's what it is. Joey also said, you always said, Eric, don't second guess yourself. Do what you know and practice all the time. So, yeah, I think that is some great advice. If anybody's got any question for any of these guys, hey, please drop them in the comment. We're fixing to get ready to ask our trivia question here in a minute, so get your keyboard fingers ready because you may not know this one off the top of your head. So, anyway, continuing education. That's what Gordon says. So I think that's a lot. I want to talk real quick about flavor profiles for barbecue. Let's talk about barbecue. Um, you cook a lot around the Memphis area, Tennessee. I mean, I heard you said you go up to Virginia and stuff like that. Do you change your flavor profiles as you travel further up on the East Coast, Northeast Coast, compared to what you do like in Memphis, Georgia, or you kind of do the same?
We stick to pretty much what we know.
Okay.
We've been successful using what we use, and we might tweak it just a little bit here and there, but not really. As we start bringing out more seasonings and flavor profiles, we obviously, play with that on different things. But our whole hogs, our shoulders, they stay pretty consistent. They are consistent, and they it works well. So we stick to
it.
We stick to the recipe.
What about you, Rick?
So really in the Mid-Atlantic, it's more of a sweeter profile, maybe savory profile compared to obviously North Carolina. Obviously, you get into more vinegar, and I'm sure as you go up north, which I don't compete, I'm sure it'll be more of the maple inside, a little bit different profile. But no, for the amount of comps I do, Mike, truthfully, I'm only looking to do maybe 5 this year locally. The barbecue battle in DC being the biggest one, which is a pretty cool event. But beyond that, I don't change much.
Okay, so what about? So I'm going to go to you now for steaks because you obviously cook a lot of steak classes or competitions. Do you change your flavor profile? Like I know you've been killing it up on the East Coast. You went down to Texas. Well, I know you use your new stuff. I tell people all the time, good food travels. It don't matter where you're at. You may make a small little tweak, but don't get too far. So I know obviously you developed all your rubs that we had talked about earlier on the East Coast. I know you took those down to Texas. They must have liked it down there. So I guess that I answered the question for you.
You kind of did because there was another individual who finished first place in Alabama who messaged me to say, "Hey, Rick, I used your rubs straight up in Alabama." So that made me feel good. So the biggest challenges, and Tyree West and Stephanie West in North Carolina went with my rub profile because no matter where I cook, Florida I get calls, Georgia I'll get calls, Mid-Atlantic, North Carolina, I'm coming after you with my rubs. I will get a call. I'm always 11th, 13th, 7th. I win a free grill, which I don't care about. Right. But nevertheless, I'm going to go visit Ralph and team down in Great Sauces and Rubs. I really don't now. Honestly, it's nice to see that they're hitting everywhere. So I feel really good about that.
That's good.
But really in the Mid-Atlantic, it's more of a savory.
Okay.
A savory steak. They'll kill you on salt. They'll destroy you, but it's really savory in this area in particular. Okay. And then down south, a little bit more salty, a little bit sweet with a back end kick. So we'll see how it does in North Carolina. I guess that'll be better than finish 4th in the world. So
yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. That's great. That's all great advice. All right, Matt Overson, Eric, and Alan are great mentors to me at Hog. Someday I won't be second in Hog. He may have showed you almost everything. I think he's holding something back. So we're going to go to the Hog champion here real quick. How many times have you won the American Royal and Hog competitions now?
For the people that don't know, we do a invitation only whole hog competition to raise money for Operation Barbecue Relief at the American Royal every year. We've been doing it for 9 or 10 years now, and we've won it 5 years in a row.
That's
crazy.
And
you asked about changing flavor profiles and changing if we change at different places. The American Royal for us is where we experiment with whole hog. That's why we put on the show. We cook the babies and the mamas, and we cook the porchetta hog with a scored skin, 2 flavored, double-sided, and that's where we change our stuff up. That's where we swing for the fences on different flavors to see what kind of reactions we get from the judges, from the people in the crowd, and it kind of steers us which way we want to go, if we want to change anything with our hog.
Wow.
And Craig Carter puts on that contest to raise money, and it's our favorite one. We like it more than we do Memphis in May.
Oh, it's
because there's the only rule is there's no rules.
There's no rules. That's it.
So you get to use your imagination. You get to use your skills that you put together with your teammates, and if you can think of it, and you can get it cooked by the time the judges come around,
Do it.
Anything goes.
That's right. It was awesome. It was awesome. I know a guy that runs around with a camera that's sampling all the stuff behind the scenes and going live. I've had an opportunity to eat your hog the last 2 years, and it is absolutely amazing. I mean, it is incredible. The flavor that you pack into that is absolutely amazing. So
and it's simple. People think cooking hogs, they're very intimidated.
yeah.
So what we need to do is we need to get together. We need to put a class on your website and teach people how to cook hogs on their back, hogs running style, catering hogs, comp hogs. There's dozens of ways of doing it, and we've got something up our sleeve for the American Royal this year, and it's probably never been done, which that's how we like to roll. So Matto,
that's awesome.
Matto better be practicing, baby.
Yeah, Matt, you better get going, buddy.
No, if anybody beats us, I want Matto. I want Matt Overson to be the one to beat us. Because he's getting good at it, and he's gonna get it one day.
He's gonna get it one day. All right, so we got a trivia question. First person that gets this answer correct gets our 20 championship backyard barbecue classes. You're gonna get them for 1 month, and now it's the first person that I see on my screen as it comes across, because my stuff is in real time. Y'all stuff is not in real time, and I can only go by what I see on my screen. So I'm going to ask the question, and okay, here's the question. Who won Memphis in May last year? I don't want the individual name. I want the team name. Give me the team name that won Memphis in May last year. First person that gets it right gets our 20 championship backyard barbecue classes. I'm going to kick Marcio out. Marcio, you don't get to play. Marcio's out, but I need the full team name of who won Memphis in May last year.
Let's not Google it, people.
Yeah. Sweet Swine of Mine Smoker and Grill Superstore. Yes, we got a bunch of folks already getting it. Let's see what we got. We're going to stump everybody tonight. Google's working overtime right now. So I want the team name. I do not want the individual name. If you put up an individual name, I'm not going to do it. I want the team name that won it. I want the full team name that won it. I don't want partial team name. I want the full team name that won it.
Dang, people.
Delicious. All right. What do you think here? Did we have one that was pretty close here? I don't see one. Do you?
Well, that was a good question, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's only the most prestigious contest in the world besides the American Royal.
I want the full name. I don't want half of it. I want the full name. I want the full team name. We're getting partial names, but we're not getting the full team name. I would suggest y'all get on Google and start Googling it. Come on now. I need a winner here. Rib. Delicious Barbie. There we go. There's the winner right there.
There it is.
Rib Delicious Barbie Crew. I needed the full name. I couldn't just do partial. And Peter's right behind it. Sorry, Peter. You was so close. I kept telling you I needed the whole thing. So, anyway. All right, Steve Conway. You get our 20 championship backyard barbecue classes. So, anyway. Well, I tell you what. It's good fun. Steve, I know you got an account with us, so if we'll get them 20 championship barbecue classes added to your account. Congratulations. Here's the cool thing. Eric, tell them what was so unique about this team winning it.
Well, first of all, one of the guys that helped that team out and helped put it together is John David Wheeler, a multiple-time world champion at Memphis in May, part of Natural Born Grillers. him and his son cooked with Ridiculous Barbecue, and I believe they're out of New York. And it's the first time Memphis has been won in the rib category in 22 years.
Wow. Yeah, it's usually hog or shoulder or something. But that was the first time rib had been won in over 20 years. All right.
It's hard for a rib to beat
Yeah. Yeah.
a
A
whole
hog.
hog that has ribs and every other piece of meat in it, and then a shoulder. And for a rib to beat out,
Yeah.
everybody for a grand, they
Right.
had one awesome rib.
Yep. All right, Peter, you're going to win it. Steve passed it down. So you was the next one in line, and Steve's got it. Peter, I think you have got a class from us. If you have, Peter, all I need you to do, Peter, if you've got class, just email me, bbqchampions@gmail.com. bbqchampions, CHAMPIONS, at gmail.com. gmail.com. bbqchampions@gmail. Let me see if I got that right. There we go. Send me your information, Peter. I think you've got classes from us. I'm not really sure. I can't remember everybody now. So I need your name. Just put in trivia winner, and I'll put the 20 championship backyard barbecue classes in your account in the morning. Well, guys, I tell you what, it's been a great night. Eric, thank you so much for allowing or being on our podcast tonight. I look forward to seeing you and at the American Royal again, Lord willing. We're going to be up there and get to try some of that hog. It's always great. Rick, congratulations to you, man, on the success of your new rubs coming out at one of the biggest competition, at the biggest state competition in the world, and absolutely crushing it with the 4th place and a 2nd place the same weekend. Good luck with you and all your rubs and everything that you're doing. And if I can help any of you guys in any way, shape, or form, please reach out to me. I'll do anything I can do to help you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, guys. Well, I hope everybody's enjoyed our podcast tonight. It's been great. Check us again out next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. We're going to be slinging the Dead Gun Barbecue around steaks or whatever. We're going to do a little bit of all of it. We're going to be talking barbecue and steak, and we absolutely love it. I hope everybody's enjoyed our show, and as we always